Hello, Tab Nation. It's your boy Tom, and today we're doing INI files with the programming language AutoIt. I've been doing a lot of these videos. They seem to be pretty popular and pretty closely related to auto hotkeys. So you guys seem to enjoy that. So INI files, just in case you don't know, I've done tons of videos, but they've been in other languages. It's the first time doing it in this. But just in case you don't know, an INI file, it's a way to save information. So it's great for like saving settings, variables that you need to keep even though the program gets restarted. But you want to give the user the ability to change those variables and save whatever kind of input they put. So for example, an INI file is easy to create. You just name it .ini and it'll look like this. Just a little blank piece of paper with a little gear because it's a configuration settings type file. We'll just open a notepad here. And so what we got here is we got our section. So for the example, I'm just calling it theme. And then you got what are called your keys. This is where the information's sorted. The section is basically just for organization purposes. So that way, if you had like categories of different types of settings, you can do it. It just makes it more organized. So here we're going to be, for our first key, is just dark. So for example, if they chose like the dark setting, dark mode, and then maybe like we want to store their font size. So we can store a string. We can also store numeric values. So different types of variables can be stored in here. So that's what we got so far. So remember what that looks like. And let's look at the code, shall we? So in AutoIt, I've already made the file, which is just the extension .au3, because it's version 3 of AutoIt. And I'm doing an include here, which is just, if you're using this, you probably don't need this line. This is just for the sake of the video, because this is to help display message boxes. That way we can visually see the information that it is grabbing. So you just have to type that in, but that's for message box. If you're not using them, you don't need that line of code. So we have our example. We want to call our function here, just called example. And here we go, function. So we're creating our function from here to here. So as you see, it starts here with the name, and it ends here where it says in function, or func. So the first thing we're going to really create here is a local variable that's only going to be used inside of this example. If you need, you can always change this to global if you're going to be using it in multiple functions. But we just need local, simple variable. $, that's declaring the variable name, which is just going to be file path. And that way we can point to where that INI file is. So as you see here, I have the full file path along with the name .ini. Now, if your script and your settings file, your INI file, are in the same directory, so both of mine are actually on my desktop, the AutoIt file and the INI file, so technically I could delete this and just have that because it's going to look where it's already at. But if you were to save it in a different location, you definitely want to do this. You could even store this information that the user puts in into an INI file. That way when it calls upon, they can move it to wherever they want. So yeah. So the first one is INI write. In parentheses, we need to use the file path. So we're doing the $ file path. So it's basically inserting this code into here. So it's basically like this whole string is actually here. The reason we do that instead of putting it in every single spot is because if I need to make a change, I only have to make a change in one spot versus throughout all my code. So we're going to create a new one. So we're going to call a new section called random. The key is going to be color, and the actual information being stored is going to be blue. You do want to put these in quotations. If you get rid of the quotations, it's going to think that I'm trying to use a variable here. Which is perfectly fine, it just depends, but we're going to hard code it into each line on this example. So that's going to create a whole new section, new, new key, and it's going to insert the information blue. Next, we want to read, But we also want to store this as a variable, so we're creating another local variable. Once again, depending on what you're doing, you might want to make this global or local, but you would know what you're doing in your script versus me. So we're calling this one just sRead. So like setting read is kind of what I was going for there. Equals, and then here's where we're putting the actual command, which is ini read. Same thing basically. We're doing we're going to be searching the section theme and font. So we're looking for this information right here, 56. And it's just going to get whatever the default value that's there. And it's going to store it here. And then here's where that message box is really coming into play. So with the message box, there's different ways to make messages boxes. I'm not really going to talk. That'll be another video. I'm not going to explain what all this is, but it's going to display that information right here. As you can see, we're calling that variable. Not going to explain message boxes. These are commented out just because I don't want them to hit while I'm doing the video, at first at least. So ini delete, maybe you want to delete a setting for some reason. Once again, we're going to call that file path, and we want to delete maybe random and color. So the one we created up here, we're going to go ahead and delete it. So that's a way to clear out data. That way, if you have an old setting that's not really used, maybe in your next update, you just add this code just for that one update, that line of code, to help clear out the settings. That way in the future, and then once this next update comes and it's already been deleted, you can get rid of this or keep it in there. Sorry about that. Another one is file delete. This one's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. It's going to delete the entire ini file. So it's just calling upon that path file up here, and it's just going to delete it. And then obviously we got to tell it, hey, we're done doing what we need to do inside this function, so we're going to put that in function. So very simple. Let's go ahead. We're going to run this, see it in action. Let me minimize that. So here's what this looks like, just so you remember. And we're going to find the script somewhere. Oh, here it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and double click that. It's going to run because there's no hotkeys. So there's that message box, and it says font size is 56. So it did grab that information. Now it's going to hold here until I press OK, and then it's going to complete the rest of the code. So let's open that ini file again. And there it is. It grabbed that 56. But it also, as you can see, it did do that ini write, where it added a whole new section, added a whole new key variable, and it did assign the value of blue. So yeah, these are very powerful. This code is so simple, so easy. It can be used in so many ways. Basically, it just really gives the user the ability to save their own information that maybe you didn't code. It gives adaptivity to your scripts as a great way to store data. Alright, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'm on an AutoIt kick, so if you want to see even more, hit a like button. Every time I get 30 on one of those videos, I'm going to follow up with something. If you guys have something specific that you want to see, check out if I've already done it. I've done some videos with AutoIt, like GUIs and stuff. But if there's something I haven't done yet, let me know, and hopefully I'll get to it eventually. I'll see you all on the next one. Bye!